All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this month's Ramble video. The winning topic this time is Jenny reviews her entire plush collection in the style of a Hallmark tutorial video. So, there are going to be a couple modifications here. I'm trying to unpack what in the style of a Hallmark tutorial video implies, and I find that a little difficult to achieve. One of the complications is I feel like just the set is like a huge part of Hallmark content. They usually are filming in a location that looks something like a cooking show or something like that. Like a, I don't know, craft show, is that a thing? But I don't have a Hallmark set to film on. The other complication is the word entire plush collection. That's simply not going to happen. I have a lot of plush, and in fact, a lot of my plush are kind of artfully arranged in various shelving. I didn't want to get that deep into this. Basically, most internet people learn the hard way that it's poor practice to show a lot of your home in your content. I'm not going to take the camera around. I don't know, people that follow my Twitter might notice that when I do take a picture where I live, it's usually just like an extreme close-up of a shelf. So there's that. That doesn't mean I can't show you a lot of plush. I can't tell. Let me look at the frame. Okay, no, you can't. I was gonna say you can see behind me, but I am managing to kind of block it with my body. There's a big pile of plush behind me. I've selected a couple genres to show to you. Oh, also, like, the third complicating factor is some of my plush are at my parents' house. I actually just recently went back for Christmas, and so I brought a lot of them back that time. But, you know, there's still some there. Actually, there were some in particular that I was looking for. I had made a list. Some of my plush had been stored in the attic, which I didn't really realize. And some of them, including ones I was hoping to bring back with me, were eaten by rats. So we'll just leave that there. Yep. Anyway, I've got a lot of them here. I tried to narrow down what kind of makes a Hallmark tutorial, and I think obviously one aspect of it is having some kind of ostentatious necklace. I wish I had more of a true statement necklace. Usually there's some kind of large singular bauble on the necklace that really makes it like a true statement necklace. The one I wore for the Hallmark video I think has been long donated, as is what happens to most of my video outfits after I'm done with them and never want to wear them again. By the time I'm done, I'm done. I think this one, it still has a lot going on, so it's kind of in the spirit of it. I should have worn a bob wig, but there's another thing. I don't think I donated the wig. I think I threw it away because it was sweaty and cheap, and I don't think anyone would want it. I'm not wearing the wig. I'm instead wearing my new Yoshi hat that I just got because I'm excited about it. So I'm going rogue there. Part of a Hallmark tutorial, I think, is that you showcase kind of useless things, like either skills or crafts or recipes that people are unlikely to replicate, and like advice that people are unlikely to apply to any actual real world situation. And that's going to be easy. Most of my advice is going to be really useless. And most of the products I showcase, you're not going to be able to buy, even if you wanted to. I think that'll do just fine. Let me pick my first genre. Okay, first I think I want to do like childhood MVPs. That's what I'm calling this category. Some of them you've met before, some you haven't. Obviously, I had to start with Spidey. This was my first spider plush. He's looking a bit rough, isn't he? I actually checked online. I was just kind of curious. Oh, my name is even written on the tag, probably from taking him to like a Girl Scout camp at one point. The handwriting is nice because it's my mom's handwriting. I don't have very good handwriting. So this plush collection is called Country Critters. And I did look on eBay, and there are Spideys on eBay, which I think is like really cool. Those are in like pristine condition, like plump and fluffy. They just kind of look like a whole different animal. Spidey is, he's been a little deflated, a little withered with age. Also, I didn't buy a different Spidey. On one hand, I thought, like, wouldn't it be nice to have, like, a backup Spidey that is in, like, perfect mint condition, or if, God forbid, anything happens to him. But then I thought, like, if anything happened to Spidey, like, no replacement would suffice, because that's not really why he's sentimental. Yeah, if you're in the market for a Spidey of your own, it's called Country Critters. If you just search that on eBay, there are actually a lot of listings. And you can see my Spidey has been, he's been affected by time. He's showing his age. You can see on the ends of some of his legs and his pedipalps where it's kind of threadbare. One of his eyes is like kind of tilted, and that's because it fell out at one point, and my mom hot glued it back in. And it never fell out again after that. It stayed after that incident, but that was obviously very traumatic when it happened. Spidey also has a squeaker in his head. So if you were to like bop him there, it would squeak. For some reason in my like mythology as a child, he didn't squeak that often, and I think it's just because of how it's like rotated in his head. But in order to get him to squeak, you have to really like bash him with your fist. So for me as a kid, I decided that whenever he squeaked, it was because he was in pain. So I would like be really apologetic if he ever squeaked. I would be like, oh my God, it's because I dropped him or stepped on him and he's really upset. So I'm not going to do it now. It would be too sad. Spidey's origin story is that we were at this it wasn't a children's department store. I think it was a normal department store. I've Googled this chain and it no longer exists, but it was called Stars. And I liked it as a kid. It had this like cool gimmick. So I think the store itself was just kind of a normal department store, maybe like a JCPenney or maybe even like a Ross or a TJ Maxx, because I remember it being a lot of like kind of Spartan, like crowded racks of clothing. But I was like 3 when this happened, so my memories are kind of faint. But the reason I liked Stars is they had like a daycare room with like slides and teeter-totters and stuff. That was more exciting to us than other places our mom liked to shop because we would get to go play in their little play area. But on this occasion, I was going around the store with my mom and she ran into one of her friends named Lori. This was above my eye level, but her friend saw this plush spider on one of the displays, and she, as like a prank, she picked it up and then plopped it on my head, thinking I would reach up and see that it was a spider and be really scared. But then I pulled him down and I was like, oh my God, can I get this spider? And then that just kind of started my interest in spiders. I've gotten other plush spiders since then. The second plush spider I got was named Billy and is more of like a tarantula looking spider. He's in my parents' house. This is Coral, named for his beautiful colors. I think in general, Coral is a really beautiful spider. His tag is so faded, but he is from FAO Schwartz. So that's kind of cool because so is Aragog. They're kind of cousins. Unlike a lot of the other plush I'm going to show you, I didn't really like play stories out with my spiders. They would just kind of like be friends that went around with me. So, you know, just like to hug. Yeah. Okay, I know you've never seen this one before because she was at my parents' house. And this is Jewel. She was the first animal I got from Build-A-Bear. I think I went with like my Girl Scout troop. And obviously I was going to get the anthropomorphic horse. I took her everywhere when I got her. I think the first outfit I got her was like a knockoff Harry Potter wizard outfit. So that's kind of fun. What's interesting about Jewel is that I still, as a username on a couple sites, have the username Spider Jewel. And I made that username the first time I needed to make an email address for myself when I was like 11 or something. I had no idea what to pick for a username, so I just picked 2 of my favorite things. So that is the origin of my username. We have Spider and Jewel, and that's the mystery revealed. Next up, here's another one that I rescued from my parents' house. He was up in the attic, but fortunately did not get eaten by rats. This is Joe the fish. I don't know, something about him is just iconic. I remember that as a kid, I would just always go, Joe the fish. And I guess that's just what I thought he talked like. He's beautiful. It's called Funny Friends, and it's an artist named Jennifer Mazur. I'm sure, like if you're familiar with this brand, you're gonna see like the way its face looks. And if you've ever seen that plush line before, they all have faces like this. I wish I could give you like a house tour because I actually got a tree by this same plush artist, and it's just kind of like a tall tree, and it hangs from a wall, so it just looks like a standing up tree. And you know I like trees with faces, so yeah, I've got one of those in one of my corners of a room, but you're not going to see it. I posted about her on Twitter not long ago, but this is Helen. That's kind of all there is to it. She's got such a sweet face. I remember as a kid, I had a toy like Velcro birthday cake that you could tear apart into different slices. And for some reason, it was always Helen's birthday. Whenever I played with that toy, she would be the one whose birthday it was. So Yeah, she must be quite old at this point. She's had a lot of birthdays. Okay, last ones for this category. We've got Zebra and Giraffe. I was so clever with names back then. I know that I got both of them at Marine World when it was still called Marine World. I think now it's called Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. Maybe it's not even called that anymore. I went there a lot as a kid. We always had season passes. Oh, and I should also explain, it's now just a Six Flags park with roller coasters and stuff. When we went as kids, the first name that the park had when we started going was Marine World Africa USA. And so it was like a zoo. In fact, when we first started going, it didn't have any rides. And then they slowly started adding rides. They added like a gorilla-themed scrambler and one of those rides where you're sitting on a platform and it just takes you up into the sky and back down like this. I think it was called Jumbo, that one. So we were really happy when the rides started showing up, but then the longer the park existed, they kept adding like roller coasters and then getting rid of the animals. Like their big thing was killer whales when we started going. And it's kind of horrifying in hindsight because if you go now, like there's no place in the park that was adequate in size to keep a whale. I mean, you could say that about SeaWorld too, but it was especially true of Marine World. The biggest tank was like smaller than a wave pool at a water park. Just like extremely, extremely small spaces. I think now they only have dolphins. But when I was a kid, they had tigers and koalas and birds and butterflies and dolphins and whales and sea lions. They had something called the Wallaby Walkabout, which was like you would walk through and then wallabies would just like hop across the path in front of you. And like, I think theoretically you could pet them if they came up to you, but they never did for me. All that to say, they sold zoo animal plush back then because they had zoo animals. I don't think they ever had zebras, but they did have giraffes and elephants. Yeah, we rode elephants. That's another thing that like we know now is not ethical to do. Back in the day, it was normal to let kids ride elephants. This one is Zebra and this one is Giraffe. I had to bring them both with me because I just remember that they were best friends. So I had to take both. I'm not going to say which one I was going to take because then they'll know. But anyway, I wanted to bring one of them with me and I was like, I gotta bring them both because they're best friends. Look at like these big button eyes on the giraffe. Just such a nice sturdy plush. Just a great, okay, well, I'm kind of showing my hand. I forgot I have 3 more in this category. So you're going to see where I'm going with this. So this was a little baby rattle that's themed like this rainbow worm. I don't remember if this one had a name. Probably not because I was a baby, you know? Okay, next we had Wiggle Waggle. His full name is Wiggle the Waggle Worm, and he's like a baby toy. So I think I got him when I was a baby. I just remember always having him. And then because he's for babies, each segment does a different thing. I'm sure they would all be really loud if I did them now into the microphone, so I'm not going to. And I guess it's just for babies to like, you know, babies like stuff that make noise. But anyway, I loved Wiggle Waggle. He remained an MVP even when I stopped being a baby. And he looks so dirty in the camera viewfinder. I need to like give him a wash. He's just dusty, I swear, because I know he's been washed since I was a baby. So it's not like drool and stuff, but he does look really dusty. Okay, you've seen this one before. This is Big Ol' Waggle. I think this one's really funny because I think that like scale-wise, this is like bigger compared to me than this one would have been even when I was a baby. Like this is a really big worm. And this one actually functions just the same as normal size Wiggle Waggle. Like each segment does a different thing. This is such a good plush. And I remember seeing this as like a display piece at FAO Schwartz when I was a kid. I don't even remember if it was for sale, but also my parents weren't going to get me like the giant worm. So I didn't get him as a kid. But then like as a grown-up, I was just thinking like, I wonder if I could buy one of those. I don't know. This is just my adult experience is like remembering all of the things that I like coveted as a child and being like, oh, that wouldn't even be expensive to an adult. I could just buy that. And so, you know, we'll unpack that in therapy. I've named him Big Ol' Waggle because he's like Wiggle Waggle, but really big. And I think he is delightful. When I got him, I took a picture of him like lying in my hallway, so there was no sense of scale. And I texted the picture to my parents like, look, it's Wiggle Waggle, remember him? And they were like, yeah, like of course they did because I played with him all the time. And then I sent a picture of me holding it and I was like, never mind, it's the giant one. Obviously its name isn't actually Wiggle Waggle, it's just like, it's a brand called Gund, which still makes baby toys and in fact makes other versions of other worms. So that was complicated. So I literally just set a Google alert for the word like a giant plush worm. And then I had a different Google alert for giant plush caterpillar. And maybe rainbow was in there. This is how I find like half the weird stuff I'm determined to buy is I just set a bunch of different possible keyword Google alerts. The other thing is, if you're trying to buy something weird and specific, even if you know its technical name, and even if there are other people who you think will know its technical name, you don't want to search it by its actual name because the people that know what something is are the ones that price it the highest. I don't know if I'm explaining that well. Let's say you want to get a plush of Sonic the Hedgehog that's like vintage and you know it's worth a lot of money. If you search Sonic Adventure 1 official plush, Sega UFO plush, whatever, that's going to be the person that knows to price it at like $500. But if you search like blue cat with running shoes, then anyone who lists it as that, they're not going to know what it is and they're not going to know what it's worth. I think the most useful thing if you're trying to buy a plush is if you can find a reference photo and figure out what the sewn-in tag has on it. And then you have to be patient. And eventually you'll find a listing and it'll be a good price. So anyway, that's my big worm story. And that's also my Hallmark tutorial of how to buy plush that you're looking for if they're weird and obscure and if they're expensive. I don't even want to put this worm down. It's so nice to hold, but also it's noisy. Okay, my next category will probably be a lot more interesting to you guys. I am moving on to video game plush. This is the only Pokemon I'm showing you. I do have a lot of Pokemon, but they're all really small, so they're inconvenient to move. And also, they're one of the specific ones that I have in a display. So it would be a pain to take them all out and put them all back in. But I've brought this one. This is my life-size Pikachu, and it's, as you can see, it's fat Pikachu. It's the way that his model was designed in original Pokemon times, and I love that. I guess there's not that much more to say about it. I just love this Pikachu. I think this is kind of like a common plush, I think. A lot of people had it back in the day, and it's very dense. It's not squishy at all. It's extremely dense, but I loved this Pikachu. I thought it was so cool to have a life-size version of one of the Pokemon. I feel that in general about Pokemon plush a lot. When Pokemon was first out, that was very much the era of Beanie Babies, so plush were all 4-inch beanbags. So, that's what a lot of my Pokemon plush are. And on one hand, that was nice because I feel like that size of plush is the easiest to play with because you can have a lot of them out. They're more maneuverable. You can wave them around and have them jump off of stuff. But I don't know, there's something about having a life-size one where you're yes, I am a Pokemon trainer. He goes really well with my hat. This is my original Yoshi plush. And as you can see, I mean, he was already a beanbag, so they're not that stuffed. But if you look up photos of one of these in mint condition, tags still on, they look quite different. They usually are a little chubbier looking. So as you can see, he's just been played with a lot. There's nothing holding his neck up anymore. We played with these all the time, my sister and I, and she would always play with Mario, and I would always play with Yoshi. As kids, especially with franchises where they were particular characters, we kind of had this unspoken rule that if my sister had a Mario, I could not also have a Mario. It was that was her character to play. She got the toy first. We also did this with Pokemon, which worked a lot better because there are a lot more Pokemon. But I remember us having fights where it's one of us, we'd be at the store and they'd have a bunch of Pokemon. So let's say I picked up Jigglypuff and she picked up Eevee. I would be no, I want Eevee to be one of my Pokemon that I play as. And she would be like, well, then get Eevee. And I'd be like, well, no, this time I'm getting Jigglypuff, but I don't want you to get Eevee because maybe next time I'll get Eevee. I don't know why it was so political. We got over that at some point and just got, you know, we would both have a Jigglypuff. We each had a Togepi. So I remember that's how it was with the Mario plush too. And all that to say, I also have like the Nintendo Power beanbag Bowser. And I found this back at my parents' house and I was like, surprised that I even had it because I didn't remember playing with it at all. I remembered that Lindsay always played with Bowser. And then I remembered, like, I had this Bowser and you can see the tag is off and I would like hug it sometimes. But when we played Mario, I would never play as Bowser, and it was because he wasn't my character to play as. But I do remember that the reason I had this Bowser, you had to mail away to the magazine to get them. And I think at one point they released a new character that we really wanted for our games. It might have been Toad or something. We were determined to get it, but you could only get it if you got the full collection. And then it would come with this one bonus beanbag. Maybe someone else that was buying them in this time will remember which one I'm talking about. But yeah, it was like you had to get the set of 5 and then one of those 5 was the new one. I ended up with like a DK, which I don't think I didn't like DK for some reason. I think it was because I had decided through playing Mario Kart, because he was a heavy character, that he was like mean. Because I feel like the computer player DK would always just be running me off the road. And I felt that way about the character until he had his own show and until Donkey Kong 64 came out. So even though he had the plush, I gave it back to my mom, and I think she put it in like a cupboard or something. It's probably still there. I could probably open a linen cupboard and find mint with tag Donkey Kong beanbag. It's a little sad. So I ended up with other characters, even though I didn't end up playing with them, because we were determined to get this one specific character, which I think was Toad. This is Talking Yoshi. I wanted this one so bad. I remember wanting it as a kid. Actually, story time about my big Pikachu. I remember that at one point my dad had just like gotten a new job, and because he was getting like a higher on bonus, he told my sister and I that we could each pick like a toy to get. The big Pikachu that I showed you earlier was at like our local GameStop. So they had the big Pikachu and they had a big Yoshi, and I had to pick which one, and I picked the big Pikachu, and I loved that Pikachu, so it's fine. But here again, as an adult, I was like, I should try to get that Yoshi. How much could it cost? $10? And then I looked on eBay, and like people that had them listed, they were like $2,000 or something insane. I'm sure you can still see those listings if you look now. So I just kind of like crawled through listings. I looked at the expensive listings as like a reference photo, and then I would just search like Talking Yoshi. And I think there was a small beanbag version that also talked, and this one was listed as like a beanbag, and I was just looking at like the fabrics and looking at the proportions of the head, and even though there was no like size reference in the photo, it was like $20 or something, and I was like, if this shows up and it's the beanbag, I will have way overpaid for it and I'll feel really stupid. But if it shows up and it's the talking one, I'll be really excited. And I was fortunate. It was, in fact, the Talking Yoshi. Oh, I was also really thrilled that the talking worked because I didn't know if it would. I had to like clean the battery compartment. It was a mess. There was a lot was done, and I was shocked that he worked at the end of all of it. So here we go. That's probably too loud. Let me move him away. It's so cute. He just makes the one sound, but I love this Yoshi. I was so excited to get him. Next, we've got Wispy Woods from Kirby. It's a tree with a face. I actually didn't play Kirby as a kid. I just think he's really cute. The only game I played with Kirby in it was Smash Bros. I don't think we ever had any of his games where he was like the star. Oh, we also had the Kirby Racers one where I just remember it had like a city level, and we would get like the flying versions of the cars and just like play around in the city level. I think that was like battle mode, but we would literally just fly in circles being like, I can fly. So like for hours. But the tree wasn't in that game, I don't think, but I think he's really cute. I'm dropping him. He was also in the Smash Brothers level, so obviously I've like seen him in action, but I do kind of feel like a fake Kirby fan because I haven't actually played his own games. But there it is, my dark confession. We've got my Putt-Putt. I got him at Toys R Us as a kid. I loved the Putt-Putt games. I'm very happy to have him. He did come with Pep, and I don't know where Pep went. I think Pep is probably still in my possession. He's probably just like you know, fallen behind my bed in my childhood room, or in a shoebox in my closet or something like that. So he's definitely not here, but I'm sure he's still kicking around. Freddy Fish. Freddy Fish came with Luther, and my sister has Luther, and I know she knows where he is because she literally got him when we were home for Christmas. So I don't know. He might be visible on her stream if any of you guys watch her stream. I don't, because I hang out with her anyway, so what's the point? I don't know. I know she has like some plush in her backdrop, so, you know, maybe if you've watched her stream, she's already shown you Luther, but I know she knows where he is and he's in her possession. So that's kind of cool that he wasn't lost. Jinjo from Banjo-Kazooie. This is by Fangamer, so this is like a recent plush, and Fangamer, they're like currently producing Banjo plush. They've made a few characters, and I hope they make more. I did, as a kid, have a plush keychain of Mumbo Jumbo, which in hindsight, I feel like kind of a problematic character, if we're being honest. I think if Banjo as a brand had like a real comeback, they'd have to do something about that character. Kind of loaded, yeah? I mean, now that I'm mentioning it, I'm sure you know what I mean. But I thought he was so cute as a kid with like his big eyes and stuff. So anyway, I did have like a little plush keychain of him. That's another one. I know I still have it somewhere. I don't know where. And I also have Kazooie. She usually sits in my putt-putt because I just think that looks nice. Also, please bother Fangamer on social media, telling them to make the B version of Banjo. I've been trying to fight the good fight, but I cannot win this war on my own. Okay, my last Banjo-Kazooie plush I am very proud of because I made it myself. I'm not that skilled at sewing things, be it costumes or plush or whatever. I'm not that good at starting from scratch, but I have found that if I can find a base piece to work from, I can do okay with that. So what I did is I got some like $3 plush decorative pumpkin on Amazon. It actually showed up and I was like, this sucks. I'm gonna have to order another one. It was way too small. It was like this big. It was like real pumpkin sized. And then I was like, wait a second, no, it's fine because Pumpkin Banjo has pants. Also, by the way, I had no reason for doing this. It sounded like something I wanted to do. So I was like, I bet I could make that. I was like, wait a second, he has pants anyway. So what I did is like the part of the pumpkin that you see on this plush is all the fabric that's there. Like there isn't more pumpkin in here. I basically just seam ripped the whole bottom of the pumpkin and like pulled it open. So it was much bigger and wider and rounder. And then just, you know, closed off the bottom with the pants. So I just got soft material for pants. I made him little belt loops. I ordered a real belt and put it through the loops with the little belt buckle. Real Pumpkin Banjo obviously has a brown stem, but the pumpkin I was working with had a green stem, so it is what it is. And I made him his little backpack, and it actually opens, and you can actually put stuff inside. There's no reason to do that. I just wanted to, and you know, ordered the little red buckles and stuff. And then for the eyes, I just made little like ovals. I think this is like fleece. And then I painted on the eye details. And I think he turned out like really accurate. I think it looks really good. This is definitely like, I've made different plush at different stages in my life with mixed results. I think this is my best end product. Yeah, I just did that for Halloween one year because it sounded like a fun project. It only took me like a few days, you know, once I get started on something. Well, I can't even say that. Think about all the videos that I've started and not finished, but I finished the pumpkin flesh, and that's what matters. It's nice. Very squishy too. I just realized that whole part of the video was like the closest I've come to an actual Hallmark tutorial. You know, make your own Banjo plush in just 3 days. My dad worked for the company that made Bubsy. He used to like work for video game companies and now he doesn't. He just works in like other tech stuff. But yeah, he worked for the company that did Bubsy and we would sometimes go and visit at work. And I remember that when we went to visit, they just had a whole drawer full of these. And so we ended up with a few over the years, and this one This is the one. This one's in a little better condition. You know, we played with all of them. There's like pilling on the shirt and stuff. But this one you can see has more shading around the eyes, which means that this one is my original Bubsy because it's a little more faded. I had them both for a pretty long time. They're just classic. I'm glad to have them. Because they're behind me in the videos and because there is kind of like a niche interest in Bubsy stuff, and because I visibly have to, I do occasionally get like cold emails like, can you sell me one of your Bubsies? And the answer is no. Actually, I played with both of them because we played the Bubsy game for N64 where there were like twins. So I would pretend that my two Bubsies were the twins and my sister's Bubsy was like the main Bubsy. So yeah, they both got played with. I like them both. So no, I'm not selling any of my Bubsies. Okay, I know I've talked about this on stream before and I was just talking to you about my like Google alerts methods. So this is my Bomberman 64 plush collection. We played Bomberman so much. Bomberman 64 2, I have played it on stream, so anyone who's watched those knows this, but that was like my favorite video game ever as a kid. I think the reason I liked it is like I was the younger sibling, so I've never been that good at video games. And so I always really liked co-op games because whenever we would play a competitive video game, my sister was always better at it, and I would just lose very quickly and all the time. So I always preferred like co-op games, but those were very uncommon, at least in that era of video gaming. A lot of the time I would just watch her play video games, which I kind of enjoyed too. Like Mario 64 is a really nice game to watch. So I really liked stuff like Sonic because then I could play as Tails, and if you've played those games, you know that if Tails dies, there are like no stakes. You're just kind of jumping around, having fun. I loved World of Illusion because that was a co-op game. I feel like no other games really tried to do what World of Illusion did. Like that's such a unique game and it was so good. I like they should make more games like that, even today. And I loved Bomberman 64 too, because very similar to Tails, I could play as Palmy, the stakes were low. And then we would also play battle mode all the time. And then we could play teams against the computer, so that was nice too. So anyway, I've got player 4, Blue Bomberman, player 3, Red Bomberman, player 2, the one I always played as, Black Bomberman, and of course, the main Bomberman. I started getting these in like a weird order. I think the first one I got was red, I think. And then I got black, and as you can see, he's like super faded, like from the sun, but I don't mind. I think he still looks fine. And then like these two were like the last ones I got. But anyway, at first I just wanted Black Bomberman because that was the one I always played as. So I thought that would be like a specific one that was cool to play as. I played as blue sometimes too, but the first one I found was red. And so I never played as Red Bomberman as a kid, but these plush don't come up for sale that often. So I was like, I'd better get it. And then I found the Black Bomberman, and then I was like, it's weird that I have 2 because there are 4. I just felt like I needed the full set, and as you can see, I have it. But it took like a few years, I think, of just being patient and waiting for ones to come up for sale for a price that was good. You're just kind of at the mercy of what people list them for. Although I think a couple I just like clicked watch and then waited to see if they would send me a lower offer. They're not listed that often. It seems like when they do go up for sale, it's not like competitive. I don't think anyone but me was like actively trying to buy these, but sometimes people would just see that there weren't any others on eBay and like list them really expensively. It was a waiting game, but I have got all 4 players and I'm very excited about that. I feel like everyone's like sleeping on these plush. I feel like a lot of video game plush from this era people are like super hardcore collectors of. I don't know if people just like didn't really know these ones existed. I remember as a kid, I would just kind of look at eBay, especially in the era when like Pokemon was big. Like I didn't have a credit card and I couldn't shop on eBay, but I would just look and like covet Japanese video game plush. I remember specifically seeing that there were like Bomberman 64 plush. And other companies have made other Bomberman plush before and since, but I feel like his design from the N64 games was like the only one I was interested in. So I was determined. I remembered them for all those years, and I'm very happy to have them all now. Can't believe I have a full set. Okay, now I'm gonna go over most of the ones in the big pile you can't see that's behind me. It's time to talk about my Sonic collection, which is quite extensive. This is the one I'm ending the video with because I have a really, not to toot my own horn, I have a very impressive Sonic plush collection. Also, all of my Sonic plush already live in this room, or at least most of them. Just over there, that part of the room that you haven't seen before. I have them all like over there. So those were easy to all bring in. And also like, my Sonic collection is impressive, but it's not as large in scope as my Pokemon collection. So it seems like my best big collection to show you in this video. So introductions aside, let's get into it. It's a lot. I have a lot of Sonic plush. The backstory of my Sonic plush is basically just that Sonic was like my favorite video game as a kid. Well, maybe, I don't know, Pokemon and Mario also come really close, but I was obsessed with Sonic, especially when like the Sonic Adventure era hit, because if you're a dumb little kid, those stories feel very dramatic, and you're like, oh, finally a video game is treating me like a grown-up. Now it's like really cringe to watch them in hindsight. But yeah, as a kid, they seemed really cool. I have like said to my friends before that I think it's like a miracle I didn't turn out as a furry. I mean, not that that would be like the worst fate, but I don't know. As a non-furry, it would seem weird to think about being a furry. I feel like Sonic is such like a gateway drug to being a furry. Anyway, now I'm kind of rambling, but I left Sonic. Also, the origin of a lot of my plush is like, as I said, my dad used to work in video games, and so he would occasionally go on business trips to Japan. So when he was there, he would look for like video game stuff for us. A lot of our Sonic plush came from that. So we have some that are like hard to get in the States for that reason. I don't think this one is like that uncommon. As you can see, I've put a little 80s sweater on him. This is my first Sonic plush. As I said, when we played the games, I would always play as Tails. I have learned in years since that this is called the Cal Toys, C-A-L Toys, Sonic plush. So I think these ones are pretty common, but yeah, this was my original Tails. And then my sister has a Sonic from the same line, and we played with these all the time, so much. And it's kind of convenient because even though these are a different collection than the Sonic Adventure Sonic toys, they're like the same scale, so we could play with them all together. It's kind of funny, like a lot of our plush are from the Sonic Adventure plush collection, but like we never got Sonic Adventure Sonic or Sonic Adventure Tails, because there again, it's like, if you're playing as a character, you just have one of that character. So it's like, we were like, why would we need another Sonic or another Tails? We already have our definitive Tails for our game, even though he's in a totally different art style. I was gonna go chronologically, but I'm not anymore. I'm gonna do the Chow last because I have a lot of them. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of go in like no particular order. This is a Build-A-Bear Sonic. He's wearing a Ray t-shirt. He's got his little sneakers. I love this one. This is the first Build-A-Bear Sonic. They ultimately did 2. I think they've done 3 by now, actually. This is the one that came out when the first Sonic movie came out. And I am like, I would bet money that they designed this plush before they redesigned the movie Sonic. Because look at his eyes. Like, I know technically movie Sonic has separated eyes, but not like this. This really feels like this plush design was based on like the original ugly trailer version of movie Sonic. I just think he's so weird looking and so funny. I think they only released him once too. And then like once he sold out, they did not restock. So I've heard this one is harder to get now. I just thought he was so like weird and quirky. So I'm a fan. And then when they released this Sonic, they released Build-A-Bear Tails, but he's not like a normal size Build-A-Bear, so you can't put the clothes on him. I've got him in these like American Girl doll clothes because that's what fits him. But as you can see, he's wearing some like nice designer threads. They have something called like Build-A-Bear Buddies that are like, they're 3/4 scale. So it's not exactly the same size. I don't know why they do that. Like, just make the real plush, Okay, so speaking of, my next Build-A-Bear Sonic and Tails. So this is like they released this with the second Sonic movie. And as you can see, this looks more true to his video game character and to the movie redesign, I think. So that's, that strengthens my conspiracy theory about the first Build-A-Bear Sonic. And then this time around, they did a proper Build-A-Bear Tails. Like, he's actually full size. He can wear the clothes. I got him this like pearlized one piece that says Babe, and he's got his little tie-dye shorts. I just think that looks really nice on him with his long, long legs. And he's got a can of hard seltzer here as well. So he's ready to party. Okay, now I've got some weird characters. This is Bean from Sonic the Fighters. I never played that game as a kid, but I remember my sister went to a birthday party and the arcade at this like roller skating place had the arcade cabinet of Sonic the Fighters. And so she told me all about Bean and Fang the wolf. But we were really like enthralled by the idea of Bean, the idea of a Sonic character that was a duck. I think because we liked Donald Duck and Daffy Duck, we just thought that was a really exciting concept. We made little paper cutouts, and then we would use like toilet paper tubes to make the little paper cutouts stand up. And so, you know, when we were kids, they didn't have a lot of merch that we had access to of like video game characters. So we had our big Sonic plush, but then we also, to play with in like play sets and stuff, like we had a castle play set, and we would just like draw in colored pencil like Sonic and Mario characters and just like cut them out. So we had one of those of Bean. So even though like we didn't have any plush of him as a kid, we didn't even have a game with him in it. We were just kind of going off my sister's memory of it being like a green duck. He featured heavily in a lot of our games, which is really weird to say, but you know, we made it work. So then when I saw that a company had like recently done a plush of Bean, I was like, I gotta get it. Okay, this is Ray the squirrel. I don't know about him at all. He's weird. I guess he's a flying squirrel. He looks quite a lot like Tails. Here again, he was from some Sonic game that we didn't play, but I saw him at the store and I thought he was really cute, so I grabbed him. This is Amy. She's like little. There are two plush I really, really want at this time, and they're both really expensive, and also like, even if you're willing to pay what they sell for, they're like impossible to even find for sale. But I really want a Sonic Adventure Amy, and I really want Knight's Chow, but that's the most expensive plush you can buy of like any plush of any property anywhere in the world. It's like the most absurdly expensive plush. I'm never gonna get one of those. But anyway, I also really want a Sonic Adventure Amy. I always wanted one for our games, and I never had one as a kid. So this one, my sister won it for me at like a theme park. They just had it in like the Midway games. This is my only Amy plush, and I think she's very cute. This is like my most recent Sonic plush acquisition, and I was really excited about it. This is Tikal. This is, I forget the name of the company. It's like whatever company currently has the license for Sonic plush. And the thing I don't like about this company is like, first of all, they're small. I wish they were to scale with my Sonic Adventure plush. But like the Sonic Adventure plush are so big and sturdy, and the fabric is so like plush and high quality. They're so detailed. This just feels like it's cheap fabric. And you can see her eyelashes like don't stay up. But anyway, I always wanted it to call plush like really badly. I thought she was such a cool character in Sonic Adventure. I was actually looking for this when I was home visiting my parents. I distinctly remember on a sheet of binder paper drawing like a gel pen drawing of Tikal. But I remember that drawing being pretty good. So I thought it'd be really funny to find it now. I know it lived on my bulletin board for like a while, but I forgot to look for it. It's probably just in like a drawer in my desk. I was excited to see that anyone had done a plush of Tikal. I would love one that was to scale with the Sonic Adventure plush and that was high quality. I've actually tried to look online to see if there's any like you know, furry that's making Sonic fan plushes, and I thought like one of them must have like a really beautifully detailed, well-proportioned Tikal plush, and the answer is no. I mean, not to roast anyone that's done it before, but I did like a Google image search to see if I could even find like a reference photo of someone that I thought had done it well, and I just didn't think any of them looked good. Okay, this one I got like several years back, and I really like this one. I told you that like as a kid, we never had a Sonic Adventure Sonic plush, which we didn't. I think it'd be really cool if I could get a full set of the Sonic Adventure plush. I already have a couple of the hardest ones to get. It's probably never going to happen because a lot of Sonic collectors want them too, and the odds of finding them at a good price are really bad. You kind of just have to get them from other collectors, and they're stupid expensive. What I really like about this Sonic is that he looks just like the Sonic Adventure Sonic plush, like almost exactly like it. But this actually is not the Sonic Adventure 1 plush. This is like a Sonic X Sonic plush, and they reused the same pattern for it. I guess like hardcore collectors think that makes this one like much less desirable because it was like pretty cheap. As far as like quality, as far as the pattern they used, it looks identical. I think that maybe there's some tiny discrepancy, like the hand position is different. This plush is so funny because he's doing like the... I just think it's funny. But obviously they're trying to emulate that one weird pose Sonic did where he's like jumping and then he's got one arm pointing down and one arm pointing up. Can't really replicate it with plush, can you? But they sure tried. To me, I'm like, why would you ever pay like the full collector's price for a Sonic Adventure 1 plush when you can just get the Sonic X plush and it looks indistinguishable to my amateur eye? I don't know. I think it's cool to have. It looks nice with my other big Sonic plush. What can I say? I feel like plush collection is like my biggest vice as far as like dumb stuff that I want to buy. I just always want plush. I don't even know where to go from that. At least I'm not like into, what other expensive things are people into? Drugs? I don't know. I can't say that. I have to cut that. Okay, these ones are fun. This is Amy. It's My Melody as Amy, which I think is really cute. It's like a little Sanrio collab with Hello Kitty and Sonic. And so I've got Hello Kitty as Sonic and My Melody as Amy Rose. And I just think they're so cute. This one I actually got when I was still working for Screen Junkies. I think this only happened once. I think there was a first and a last year. They sent me to Comic-Con to like do man on the street interviews. I thought that video was really funny. I really liked the way it came out. I think it's just gone now. I think it doesn't exist anymore. It was already weird. Like, they had given me this assignment to go out and interview like hot cosplayers. They just said cosplayers, but you know, like the implication is like man on the street interview with hot cosplayers. Someone that was giving me instructions, the instructions were literally to ask them like, implicitly demeaning questions. Where it's like, what do you think about philosophy? And the joke is like, oh, because you're wearing a bra, you must be really stupid and not have anything to say about that. So I didn't want to do that. So instead I had this bit where I would just kind of go up to people in like the most dispirited way and be like, my boss told me I have to film hot anime babes. The way people responded to that I thought was like funny, and I don't remember that much about it, but I thought it was a funny video. But anyway, then shortly after, my boss was involved in a scandal. So the optics of me saying my boss told me I have to go out and film hot anime babes, I assume was considered no longer okay. I was never like informed of the reasoning of this decision, but I think the video just like disappeared. So it's gone now. But anyway, I went out with Screen Junkies to Comic-Con. It was a fun trip. They let me bring my friend. It was fun. We were walking the con floor because we were doing like the man on the street interviews. So I was working and I passed the Sanrio booth and I saw that they had all these like Sonic Hello Kitty plush. And I was like, oh my God, I want all of them. But I can't because we're working, and my producer, Max, who was really nice, he still works at Fandom, and I think he even has like a better job now, but at the time he was like my producer of my show there. He would also like, whenever we went out of the studio, he would be like the camera guy. He was like, no, you should just get them now, which was really nice of him. I got this gigantic bag. I got like one of each. Some of them I gave to my sister. It was just this big overflowing bag full of Sonic plush, and my poor producer was nice enough to carry not only the camera and be like doing the camera work, but also carrying my giant bag of Sonic Hello Kitty plush. And I'm glad we did that because I don't know if I would have been able to get back to get them. And they like sold out really quickly. So yeah, that was exciting. And I just think they're so cute. People always ask me like, where do I keep all my plush? Because I have quite a lot of them. And here's another Hallmark tutorial life hack that anyone can use in their daily lives. So basically I have a bedroom and I also have a computer room, but they're both intended to be bedrooms, and so they both have large closets. I have an extra closet, so I have a plush closet. That's where I'm going with this. I have a plush closet, and then I also, I believe firmly in plush as decor, so I've also put up quite a few shelves full of plush. I was looking at like rental listings, and one of them was like this creepy old farmhouse, and it had the most haunted looking space. It was like the bedroom had like a normal closet. It was like a nice walk-in closet, you know, kind of dated looking, but spacious. I love space. And then like off the closet was this like half-height scary door, just like a terrifying little ghost door. You went through like the scary door and there was this weird like irregularly shaped room that looked like it had previously been like attic or crawl space, but they had like put walls up and kind of closed it in, but now it just had all these weird walls that were probably hiding things like boilers or something like that. So just like this extremely ominous room. Like you see the realtor's picture of the closet and there's just like this dark void at the back of it, just like truly cursed energy. Like that's where you're gonna hear scary noises. That's the ghost closet. But I was looking at it and I was like, this is some really nice plush real estate. Like this could be a beautiful plush room. That's really nice. So that's me. If I was like in The Conjuring, I'd be walking around the scary attic being like, my Sonic plush would look really good on some shelving in here. The ghost is like knocking my Sonic plush off the shelves and I'm like, oh, well, at least they're plush so they can't break. And the ghost is like, darn it. Anyway, that was a long tangent. My next plush is my Sonic Adventure 2 Rouge the Bat. What a weird plush, right? Like she's got these big, well, you know, I was trying to think of just the most like distasteful word. She's in surprisingly good shape. Look at, I feel like these plush, the thing that always goes wrong is their boots like peel and crack. Hers are still gorgeous mint condition boots. She's just a cool plush. This is one that came back for me from a business trip. So this is like an OG. Everywhere I touch her is weird. There's no non-weird way to like hold or touch or display this doll. In fact, when I see male Sonic fans that are like, I've been trying so hard to get the Rouge the Bat plush, you know, it's like, I know it's a plush, but you can't help but have thoughts about that where you're like, I wonder why. Wonder why they want that plush so bad. I feel like my energy in this video is very strange. I think my favorite thing about her is her ears are like really big and soft. Like there's just something really nice about them. And just all in all, I feel like all the Sonic Adventure plush, like the construction of them is so nice. Like so many details, so many different fabrics and textures. And yeah, this is my childhood Rouge the Bat. So I think this is another one that can be quite difficult to get secondhand, especially in good shape. But this is just the one that I've always had. Actually, my understanding of it is that the Sonic Adventure 2 plush collection specifically is like way rarer than the Sonic Adventure 1 plush collection. They're both pretty sought after and they're both now really hard to get. But I think the Sonic Adventure 2 plush were like always harder to get. And my understanding of it, I might be wrong, I'm not like a Sonic expert. This is just what I've picked up on from trying to like acquire Sonic plush. The Sonic Adventure 1 plush collection was in like UFO capture machines and was also sold retail in Japan, but then it was also sold retail in the US. I think only on the official Sega website and also weirdly on the KB Toys website, may it rest in peace. Whereas, to my understanding, the Sonic Adventure 2 plush were only in Japan. They may have been retail, but I think they might have actually only been in UFO machines. I don't think my dad got these out of UFO machines. I think he just got them, like, he bought them from someone in Japan. We didn't ask because we were little kids, so it was kind of like Santa Claus bringing stuff home. He wouldn't be like, which retail location did you get these at? We have the Sonic Adventure Knuckles, but for years before that, when we had our like our Sonic and our Tails, like these ones that were older, we really wanted Knuckles because we had like the Sonic and Knuckles game, like when the character was introduced, and we had to wait until Sonic Adventure came out to get a plush Knuckles. So every time my dad went on a business trip, we would beg and be like, we need a Knuckles. Like my sister was the one that would always play as Knuckles in the game. So like he was gonna be her plush, but I was also personally really invested in her having a Knuckles because I knew it would enhance our Sonic games to have this character to play with. So we would always be like, you have to bring a Knuckles. And then he would get home and he would not have a Knuckles. And he would always be like, we'd be like, did you find Knuckles? And he'd be like, oh, you didn't tell me you wanted Knuckles. Oh, I went to a store and they had shelves and shelves of Knuckles. You should have said you wanted it. And we would get so upset. And then later when we were adults, he was like, oh yeah, I looked so hard for Knuckles. I just couldn't find him. But yeah, we fully believed him as kids. We would get so frustrated and be like, we told you we wanted Knuckles. Oh my God, I forgot to tell you guys about this one when I was talking about my Nintendo plush. This is a big piranha plant. I love that it's mostly head. It doesn't have a stock. It's just really round and squishy. I didn't realize at the time because whenever I got this, it was before I was collecting Squishmallow. But I know now that like this brand, like the fabric they use and the filling they use, it's the same as Squishmallow. It's literally the same. It's like if Mario was doing Squishmallow, it would be like this. My only complaint is that the leaves are scratchy felt. I like to lie on my plush, and it's not nice if you're like lying your face on the plush and then you hit the scratchy felt. But other than that, so soft. It can chomp in a satisfying way. Nice big round face. I love the piranha plants. I always have. I would love if they did Pokey, the cactus guy. I think he's really cute. That would be nice if they did a plush of that. But anyway, this brand is called Club Mochi Mochi. They do a lot of like Nintendo plush. They're out in stores right now, so I highly recommend them. Usually they're just at Target in like the video game section. This is the only one I have, but it's really soft. 10 out of 10, highly recommend. I have a mountain of plush next to me, so I'm gonna put some stuff back before I get into the chow. This is the meat of it. Okay, while I was putting things away, I found a couple others that I forgot to talk about. E102 Gamma. This is a modern Sonic plush, so it's, again, that kind of cheap fabric, but, like, he actually is kind of close in scale to the Sonic Adventure ones. I call all of the Sonic robot characters E102 Gamma because I didn't play that much of Sonic Heroes or, like, later Sonic games. I know that usually now he's, like, different Greek alphabet letters because this one exploded at the end of his game. So I was happy to see that the company, this one is actually E102 Gamma. Refreshing. You know, they made it for me. My black Yoshi, who I think is really cool, he's, as you can see, not a Nintendo Power plush. I think I got him at Toys R Us, actually. So this would have been like later when you could actually start to kind of find video game plush in stores. And then I brought just classic. These are like, I didn't bring many of my Pokemon, but I did bring my KFC Pokemon beanies. So these were like the first plush Pokemon we ever got to have. So there's Vulpix, there's Seal, there's Zubat. I have Dratini somewhere, but I didn't see him, so I just brought these ones. This one's really cool. This is actually a Tamagotchi. Let me show you. So it Velcros, and then you flip it. This one's also from Toys R Us. You flip it inside out, and it doesn't even really show up on camera. It turns into a Tamagotchi egg. So see, it's got the 3 buttons down here, the screen, and then it says Tamagotchi. It's illegible on screen. And then you flip it out, and it's the character. I have a second one of these that's like the one that looks like a bird head in side profile. I love that one. This is one of those particular ones that I like specifically wanted to get when I visited home for Christmas. And I did find him, but as you can see, one of his legs is a little different because it was, say it with me, eaten by rats. I actually performed reconstructive surgery just now. When I cut the camera to put a bunch of my plush back, I just sewed it up. I had not gotten around to it yet. I was like, I want to flip him inside out. The time is now. But yeah, not all of it was still there, but I'm glad he could at least be salvaged. And yes, he's been washed. I'm sure probably it's still irresponsible to keep him because he's been eaten by rats, but we're not going to talk about it. Okay, anyway, now it's time to talk about the chow. If I slip up and call them Chao, it's because that's how I thought it was pronounced when I was a kid, and sometimes I still say that. Okay, this is the very first one I got, and I love him so much. There's so many like specific details I remember about him, like this, yeah, it's still there. I was always so enthralled by, he's got a couple dye spots right here on the seam of his wings that are like a darker pink. I'm sure that was just like a production error because it's been like that the whole time, but I remember that I always thought they just reminded me of like raspberry juice or something. So as a kid, I just assumed he must enjoy raspberries. And he's got some scratched up eyes a little bit. It's very common on these guys. And that's because he was my original Chow. And then, I know I've told this story before, but I was really into the Chow in Sonic Adventure. I played with that Chow all the time. And I talked about them all the time. They were like my favorite thing. And it just so happened that one of my birthdays coincided with KB Toys going out of business. And so they were shutting down their online store as well. So according to my family, the Sonic plush were all on like super clearance. Like I think they were down to like $2 to $5, like something really cheap. So for my birthday that year, they ordered me 5 more chow. And so when I got home from school, they were all lined up and they each had a different birthday card in front of them. And I was so excited. And so I've got them all today and I can still tell them apart just by looking at them because their heads are slightly different shapes. I will demonstrate this skill. This is Luke. He's the one I decided could talk. And as you can see, he's in the worst shape. Because he could talk, I took him everywhere. I took him so many places, and he's quite dirty. He's seen a lot in his days, and he's also missing an arm. This is a point of contention for me to this day. The arm fell off at home. I brought it to my mom. She promised to reattach it. And Luke and his arm sat on her dresser for like weeks. And then finally I was like, I miss playing with Luke. Can I have him back? And she's like, I haven't attached the arm yet. And I was like, okay, well, I just want to play with him until you're ready to put the arm back on. So I did. I left the arm with her, and then the arm vanished, never to be seen again. I'm sure it's still somewhere in my parents' house. It's probably behind her dresser or under her bed or something. I have even taken it upon myself to crawl around her room looking for it. We don't know where the arm is. It must be somewhere. It drives me crazy. And I'm sure now if we put the arm back on, it wouldn't even color match him because it's probably cleaner than the rest of him at this point. But yeah, Luke is armless. And I don't even know if I could make him a new one because they don't sell any new fabric that's the color of dirty Luke. So I don't know. But yeah, he doesn't have an arm. This one is Chris. I know him right away because he's got this lump coming out of the side of his head. See? The differences look small, but I swear, you know, his face kind of goes back. And then there's like this lump. That's Chris. It occurs to me now that a lot of my chow have like kind of biblical names. I don't know why. I think it was just they were common human names. My chow names are weird. That's my disclaimer. This one, okay, these two are kind of hard to tell apart. I think this one is Lollipop. Lollipop and Jolly both have really wide heads, but Lollipop's is a little narrower. Oh, I hope I'm right. They have them right. Yes. I wrote them all in the tag because like at first they were new to me and I couldn't always tell them apart. Now I can. It's second nature. But yeah, her tag does say Lollipop. I was correct. This one is Norbert. He was a later acquisition. I know him because he has kind of a weird texture difference on one of his eyeballs. I don't know why. Just a manufacturing thing, I guess. He's in pristine condition, as you can see, because like I said, he was a later acquisition. Okay, I can't believe I ever thought I wouldn't be able to tell Jolly and Lollipop apart. Jolly's head is the widest head of all of them. It's so wide. And also he's got one eye that kind of goes out to the side. So that's Jolly. He's a great one. And then this is Jason. He was the jock because his head is so narrow, which obviously makes him really aerodynamic. The chow are another one. Whenever I post any picture where people can see that I have more than one, I get cold emails from people wanting me to sell them one. And no, they all have names. I have them all at this point in my life because I want them all. If I wanted to sell them, I would have by now. They're mine. Of course, I should have introduced him first because he's kind of their guardian. This is Chaos. And the lore, oh my god, the color filter on my webcam is freaking out right now. my big ol' waggle in the back is just strobing different colors. I don't know what it is, white balance, whatever you call it. But this is Chaos, and he's like the guardian of the chow. And it's kind of unclear in the game, but I think officially, canonically, I think Chaos used to be a chow, because chow is spelled like chaos without the S. There's one cutscene that kind of implies that because like someone attacked the chow garden to steal all the chaos emeralds, and like the gods were angered, and so they turned one of the dead chow into this like scary protective god that would like destroy everything. And Chaos had different shapes depending on how many of the emeralds he had in his possession. This plush kind of confuses me because it must be Chaos 1 because he's got the one emerald right there. But I don't know, his arms don't really feel big enough for that to me. I feel like he looks more like Chaos 0. This is Cheese Chow, and he's got his little bow tie. So this would have been from when Sonic X was airing. I think I got him for Easter. He's so cute. He's just like a nice little size. so compact. I remember being weird about Cream and Cheese because I feel like I wanted Cheese to be like a bigger character. And then I liked Cream before I heard her talk, but something about her voice really bugged me because it sounded so false. Like, I can't even picture it. Wasn't it just like, oh, this is my chow named Cheese? Like, it just sounds like someone doing an extremely fake voice.
We didn't do anything. Please let us out.
I like Cheese because it was nice. I feel like at that point in the Sonic timeline, they had kind of scrubbed the Chow from a lot of things. So it was just nice to see a Chow in some form of like animated media. I think this is my only Cheese though. None of my other ones have bow ties. Immediately wrong. Embarrassing. Wrong again. I have a third Cheese. I was picturing this one, but I really just thought it didn't have a bow tie. Some of these are being made in like modern times. I've got a little Shadow Chow and even a little Hero Chow, which is really nice. A normal Chow. I think I just found this at like Walmart. It was just lying abandoned on a shelf and I was like, oh my God, a Chow in the wild. And then little tiny Chow. So little. This guy is usually hanging off my microphone rig. Just off one of the knobs. Nice to have a little Chow hanging there in my eyesight. Okay, these are very recent. These are these Chow backpacks. They're not very functional. Like a lot of plush backpacks, the actual zipper pouch is like really tiny. So they're really just an accessory you can wear over your shoulder or a really big plush if you don't wear them at all. But I have them in dark Chow and neutral Chow. He has made a Hero Chow at this point, but I haven't been able to get one yet. And he also re-released this one in Sherpa, and I did in fact order it. So felt a little silly, but I was just like, when he does launch stuff, they sell out so fast. So I was just like, I don't know. I caught it when it was listed and I was like, I gotta do it. So it hasn't arrived yet, but yeah, I did order it. I don't know if he's gonna do the other ones in Sherpa again, but that would be exciting. Or if he did a Knight's Chow, that would be really exciting. I think he should just keep doing them forever. But anyway, yeah, he makes like streetwear fashion, a lot of it with like nostalgic cartoon characters. And as with most like streetwear independent brands, he does like limited runs and they sell out super fast. So yeah, these ones are harder to get a hold of. This one I was really excited about. This one just came out a couple years ago. And it's the same size, the same scale as the Sonic Adventure plush, but they never produced a dark Chow of the Sonic Adventure plush. And I always felt like that was like very much a void in my Chow garden, if you will. But like, look, pretty much the same size. They look so nice next to each other, like different fabrics and stuff, but still. What drives me crazy is they did produce a prototype of a dark Chow back in the Sonic Adventure days. And there are like pictures of it at the Sega office. And also they had like a shadow walk around mascot character that carried the big dark Chow with him. But they were, the prototypes were like bigger. They had one of each of the Chow types. And instead of being like this size, they were like this size. They were like 160% the size of the actual plush. Imagine if I could get my hands on that. Impossible. An impossible dream, but man, and it looked so good. It was such a high quality plush. I really wish they had produced it in the actual toy line, but they never did. Okay, and that takes me to the pièce de résistance. This is probably my rarest Sonic plush. This is the Hero Chow. Isn't it nice? And look what good condition he's in. He does have a little bit of scratchies on his eyes, but I think he looks just great. As a kid, I always coveted the Knight's Chow because that one is really rare. It's like it was the Sonic Adventure 2 collection, so you could only get it in like UFO machines in Japan. So like nobody has it. It's kind of like the holy grail for Sonic collectors. But I've come to learn as an adult that this one is actually like equally rare. Which I didn't really realize as a kid. I definitely felt lucky to have it and have a different kind of Chow, but I didn't quite realize how much rarer it is. This one's weird too, because look, it's got this clear vinyl that holds the halo up because in the game it floats. I think it's a little overkill, to be honest. I don't know why they didn't just sew the hoop onto these and have it resting on. I guess it's nice they went the extra mile. Very cool plush. It's got these nice like shiny fabric wings, the nice gradient painting on the feet and stuff. So this is another one I get cold emails about whenever I show them. People are like, are you selling it? It's like, why do you think I would be selling it? Like, you know, they see my giant collection of Chow and it's like, are you trying to sell any of those? It's like, why would I have so many if I was trying to sell them? Sorry, I already mentioned the Knight's Chow. I want to get one someday. And I did find someone that was like actually trying to sell them. And I was like, I'm a serious buyer. Like, I know it's an expensive plush, but I'm a serious buyer. Like, what do you want for this one? And then they told me the price and I was like, never mind. I actually was not prepared for it to cost that much. They cost so much. I feel like I'm never going to get one. Maybe someday I'll go to Japan and go to a thrift store and there'll just be one lying there. Anyway, if you see something that looks like this, but it's purple and green, then that's what I'm looking for. If you go to a thrift shop in Japan and you see it, get it for me, please. Okay, so yeah, those are all my Sonic plush. Those are all my Chow. If I were to try to get any plush, my holy grail plush right now would be the Sonic Adventure Amy, the Knight's Chow plush, and I feel like I thought of one more earlier, but it's not coming to me. Oh, in Australia in the 2000s, they made a prototype plush of a My Little Pony named Starcatcher. And it was made at 3/4 scale. They took pictures of it for a magazine, and I don't think they ever produced it. And I want that. I want that prototype. So, yeah, that's my plush collection. I think it's pretty impressive, isn't it? I feel like part of why the video game plush are sort of exciting is because other people actually care about what you have. I feel like a lot of the other plush stuff I have, I like them, but nobody else cares at all. I feel like video game plush, there are actually people that collect it that will be like, wow, that's really cool that you have that. And I guess that makes me feel good. I guess that makes any collector feel good when people are like, wow, how impressive. So you can all leave that in the comments today. I hope all of your comments on this video are, wow, Jenny, your plush collection is so impressive. And I'll be like, yep, that's the truth. Okay, so this is kind of the end of the video. Some people were sad that I didn't talk about what I was working on last time. I told you guys I didn't know if it was evergreen to say at the end of all my videos what I'm working on. But anyway, I guess I'll share this time in case people want to know. These past few weeks, I have been working on the Barbie video again. I know I very specifically said I'm not going to try to do the Barbie video next because it's another giant video. I just posted a giant video and I would love to work on something I could post more quickly, but I lied. The heart wants what it wants, and inspiration struck, and I've been working on the Barbie video again. I don't know if that'll be the next video I complete, but I do know that for the Bad Cars tier and above, I am going to be posting another preview of it soon. I don't know how much of a preview it's going to be, because the editing process is honestly painstaking and very slow, because I'm putting in a lot of clips of the movies, which takes longer than non-clip involved editing. I already posted like an 18-minute or something preview. I'm just gonna re-export the whole thing again because it's been so long since I did that. So the preview I post will probably be like 40 minutes long, but it'll only be like 22 minutes of new preview footage, if that makes sense. I don't want to disappoint anyone if they see like a 40-minute video and they're like 40 new minutes. It's just gonna be 18 familiar minutes and like 20 new minutes. But anyway, yeah, I'm looking to post that in like the next week. In other channel news, as you can see, I'm celebrating with my big plush Yoshi hat. Super Nintendo World is kind of open. It's open for previews. I did manage to snag the very first preview day, and it was kind of a mess, so I shouldn't have done that. I regret it. They just hadn't really organized how they were going to do the previews yet, so we did get to go in, and I really liked what I saw. I liked it a lot. I've seen a lot of naysayers on like theme park Twitter, but I'm really impressed by the land, and so far my impressions are really positive. However, we got to do like less than half of everything there. So I thought maybe I would make content about it. I did bring a camera and I did like film what I was doing, but there's so much that I didn't get to experience that I will have to go back and try to film what remains and see what remains, because I've been avoiding spoiler videos. Until I see the whole land, I don't know if I'm gonna have enough to say about it to do content. And also, I don't know when I'm gonna get to go back and see the rest, because like I said, they're in previews right now. In fact, they're in previews for the next like several weeks, and then they're going to open to the public and it's going to be crazy crowded. So I have no idea when I'm going to be able to do the ride and the boss challenge, which is what I have left. I don't know when I'm going to be able to go back, and if it's a long time from now, like, will it even make sense to do a Nintendo World video at that point anymore? I don't know. So if only I was just a theme park vlogger who liked everything all the time and could get on press lists, but that is not the situation. To Universal's defense, they did actually acknowledge that they screwed up our preview day so badly that they emailed everyone that went on our preview day saying that they were going to add a day for us to come back and do it again, but they only offered one specific day and they didn't give much advance notice, so I'm not going to be able to go. So, I don't know, it would have kind of been nicer if they gave a choice of days. I do kind of feel like I'm being punished for arbitrarily picking the wrong day. So that kind of sucks. In other channel news, I reached 1 million subscribers. I can't remember if I already had in my last Ramble video. It feels more tangible because this week my plaque showed up. And it's really heavy. I'm not going to put it up yet, because I need to figure out where it's going relative to my apple pie tree. So that's what I really wanted to talk about. I've had a lot of people asking whether I have an apple pie tree yet, and I've been pointedly ignoring the question because obviously the apple pie tree should be a beautiful surprise. But so many people are asking, I'm just going to say it. Yes, I have sourced an apple pie tree. As you can see, it's not here. It is in storage right now. So yeah, that's the complicated answer. The tree has kind of been acquired, but the tree is not here. And so the tree is a work in progress, but I at least feel like I don't have to keep searching the market for the tree. We don't just do 1 million subscriber Q&As and bring in the tree. We got to do a video about the tree. So to complement the arrival of the tree, I have also been writing a video about McDonald Land, and I don't want to spoil it, but anyway, there's a lot of interesting stuff to say about McDonald Land. It's got a rich history. I'm very excited though. I've already got a name picked out for the tree because he's to celebrate 1 million subscribers. I decided he's going to be named Algorithm because, you know, like on YouTube, you're kind of at the whims of the algorithm gods. And I guess it's like a Game of Thrones thing, how their gods, their old gods are like trees. So it just feels very majestic to have a tree that's Algorithm, and he is the Lord you serve. I feel like I've just like ceased to make sense for the night, but that's okay, because I'm done. Okay, I hope this was at all interesting to anyone. I feel like this is another one of those ramble topics that was just really self-indulgent. I also just realized I feel like at a certain point I completely lost the whole concept of it being a Hallmark tutorial. Okay, well, thanks for another month of support. I'll see you guys next time. Bye! You know, it's been bugging me the whole time, and probably you guys have seen it, but when I look in the viewfinder, like, okay, when my eye is closed, my eyeshadow looks like it's blended fine. When I opened it, there's like a weird diagonal line, like right there, that makes it look like I just have a streak of brown. It must just be a wrinkle on my eyelid that only shows up when it's open. But it looks weird, right? It's weird. Okay.